I just want to say thank you. Let's have a round of applause for Jen for all the hard work she has done and all the people that help her. You know, even during the pandemic and the worst of the situations we face in this country, she still kept this campaign going. She wasn't going to give up on it. And it is so important, as we've just heard, because this is about you speaking out and millions of other people sharing your concerns and making a difference. Now, it was 7 years to the day since the news broke that Cecil the lion was killed in Hwange National Park in Zimbabwe. I remember that day very well because I was working in Born Free at a time when most of our team were actually in a conference in Vancouver when we got this call from the Daily Telegraph to say that we originally felt that this story wasn't really a big story for us because we were told it was a Spanish hunter. But now we believe it's an American hunter, a dentist called Walter Palmer. We have these passport details, and we're going to put this front page of the paper tomorrow, and I want your opinion on it. So I did an interview for the Daily Telegraph, and then I took a call from Sky News, and then BBC rang the office at Bournemouth and said, can you come up in the morning? Because we want you to do headline news across the BBC. And I remember going up to Salford that night, getting up at 6 in the morning and going into the news studio and looking at all the television screens, and all of them had Cecil the Lion's story as their main headline. Looked down at all the newspapers on the desk, and the security guard go, are you the Lion Man today? He said, you're going to be very busy. This story was absolutely huge. And for the first time, the horror, the real horror of trophy hunting was brought to world attention. And why? Because this business is all about cruelty and exploitation. Walter Palmer went to Hwange National Park and basically took a lion that was part of a research project funded by the University of Oxford, a satellite-collared lion that should not have been killed, that was hugely popular for phototourism, that generated tens of millions of dollars by just doing what a lion does so people could see it in its natural beauty in that national park, and he illegally killed it. He didn't even kill it outright because he used a high-powered bow and he wounded it. And he had to go after that lion with a guide through the night to try and find it, to finally finish it off with a gun. And that's why it was so horrific. And I remember speaking on BBC Breakfast about the nature of high-powered bows that Jane Dalton in The Independent is saying today is actually on the increase when it comes to trophy hunting. So not only is this barbaric and cruel, some of these hunters are getting increasing kicks out of taking high-powered bows that you know often only wound the animal, which is what we found with Cecil the Lion. Well, by the time I finished on BBC Breakfast News and Radio 4 Today programme and Good Morning Britain, I did them all. Cecil the Lion was on the side of the Empire State Building by the end of that day. That's how big this story was. David Cameron was being asked about it as Prime Minister. Barack Obama was being asked about it as President of the United States. Angela Merkel was being asked about it as German Chancellor. But the question now should be, 7 years on, after all of that global anger, after the killing of that precious lion, why the hell are we still waiting for this government just to make a clipment and put it into law to stop the import of wild animal trophies? Don't you think that's a disgrace?
Yes!
They are dragging their feet, they're kicking it away. While Boris Johnson hangs on for grim death, with all the scandals emerging around him every single day. Now, I don't care about Boris Johnson, and I know his wife quite well, which has been controversial over the years. And I know she cared about this, but I'm afraid there are too many people in the Conservative Party that have given up on it. And that's just not bloody good enough. And we're not going to give up on it. We are going to fight day in, day out, until that commitment to make this trophy hunting ban law actually happens. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
Because we want to send a message to the rest of the world that we're a caring, compassionate nation. 7 years on from butchering of Cecil the Lion, we are going to show the rest of the world that we're going to do something to stop this barbaric industry. And the other thing I'm sick of, I do lots of campaigning on wildlife issues. And I take a lot of stick, and I also work hard alongside so many other organisations, many of whom are here today, who do amazing work. But the one thing I find most difficult is the debate about trophy hunting, because I often come across academics, I come across people in university education settings, conservation settings, that make excuse after excuse for this barbarism. They say to me, Dominic, you're all too ethical, you're all too emotional about this. If we take away trophy hunting,
We're not going to support local communities in Africa. We're not going to be able to protect wildlife in habitat areas that are not suitable for tourism. We'll lose lots of money. That is complete and utter manure. That's the polite word I will use for it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And you know why? Because firstly, the level of income that's generated by trophy hunting is tiny, at most maybe £50 million across all of Africa. That's nothing. And the vast majority of that money lines the pockets of corrupt government officials, safari park businesses, and people that are involved like Walter Palmer and the Safari Club International and all those other dirty lobby organisations that have been spending millions of pounds trying to stop a trophy hunting ban in this country. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
It doesn't hurt local communities. It's not helping protect wildlife, and there should be no academic, no conservationist, no scientist, in my view, that justifies killing a wild animal for so-called protection purposes. Would you agree?
Yes.
And yes, if the government bans wild animal trophies, as it should, it must follow through on financial support for communities across Africa and other parts of the world. We have spent billions wasted on PPR equipment that has to be incinerated because the government never even made sure it worked properly. And actually £1 billion spent in Africa today will protect the future of Africa's lions for the next 10, 20 years. And that's what we should be doing with our international aid budget. Not just here, but across the European Union, the United States and other countries as well. We must put money into Africa to protect habitats and local communities. And we shouldn't allow the trophy hunters to fill the gap saying, we can help you, but you must allow us to continue our barbaric industry. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And then you come to the can hunting operations in South Africa. The South African government said they were going to shut them down, they were going to regulate them. Well, they haven't. They're still there, they're growing in number. There's a danger that the South African model of breeding lions in this conveyor belt of cruelty and exploitation will be picked up in Namibia and other countries. So it will actually grow as a problem. It will not reduce. We should say there is no place in the modern civilized world for effectively farming wild animals to be exploited and killed by hunters. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And there's no place for their hides or their bones to be used in the medicine trade. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
There's no legitimacy in that business. It's disgusting, it's immoral, and it should be wiped off the face of this earth. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And remember, when it comes to trophy hunting, we have another massive inconsistency with this government. On the 11th of July, after 100,000 people have signed a petition, we'll have another debate in Parliament about the use of bear fur hats for the Coldstream Guards. Now, all of us will have seen the recent Jubilee celebrations with hundreds of soldiers with their bearskin hats on their head. And then we have the event in the evening, which was wonderful to see, and we had a big piece about conservation, and they were projecting bears on the side of Buckingham Palace, and all day we'd had soldiers marching up and down with dead bears on their heads. Do you think that's right?
No.
It's hugely inconsistent. And the government have no place to go on this, except to say, if they actually have a trophy hunting ban, they will put in place a derogation to allow the continual killing of black bears in Canada so that they can make bear fur hats that you pay for the Coldstream Guards. Do you think that's right?
No.
Not only is it stupid, not only is it inconsistent, not only is it unethical, not only is it a massive waste of taxpayers' money, because EcoPel, the best fur manufacturer in the world, has offered the Ministry of Defence a brilliant fake fur hat where all costs being met by the company. It will save us millions. It also will open up any trophy hunting ban to judicial review, legal challenge. Because the first thing that will happen is the trophy hunting industry will come after the government and say, you can't stop private hunters bringing bear pelts in from Canada, but you're going to continue to allow bear pelts to be sold to hat manufacturers that you purchase as part of government procurement programs of the Ministry of Defence. That is not going to work. We said to government it's not going to work. We said to them, if you go ahead with this, you will basically kill the trophy hunting ban as well, which you're already dragging your feet on. So you need a comprehensive trophy hunting ban implemented, and we need an end to the use of bear fur hats in the British Army. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And they are two things that this bloody government that promised so much and has delivered so little can at least do before Boris Johnson drops off into the distance. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And that's the least that we can expect. But also, I'll finish on this point. We've got the League Against Cruel Sports here today, and this is an area that they're very focused on. Trophy hunting doesn't just happen abroad. Trophy hunting happens in Britain as well. On private islands and estates across this country, you can kill goats you can kill deer, you can kill stags. And that is trophy hunting as well, and it's just as disgusting. It's another profit-driven, exploited business, and it must end. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
So it's trophy hunting at home, and it's trophy hunting abroad. And yes, Bill Travers, 100 years age he would be today. What an amazing man. He saw so much in the war, so much conflict and suffering, and he dedicated his life with Virginia McKenna that is still so active today. At a great age, she's not given up. They changed the way we thought about animals in captivity. They changed the way we thought about animals in the wild. And if Bill was here today, he'd be shouting out louder than ever that we must stop this barbarism. We're not emotional. We're not thinking about communities in Africa. We're not disconnected from all the problems that people have in developing countries. We just want to see in a modern civilized world, you're not going to be able to go online, pay $20,000 and kill any animal of your choice if you've got enough money. It's got to bloody end, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
So that's why we're marching through the streets of Birmingham. That's why we're not going to give up on this campaign in this country, in Europe, anywhere in the world. We are going to see these bans in place. We are going to protect the future of Africa's lions, Africa's elephants, Africa's rhinos, not just for our generation, but for generations to come. Thank you very much.